All right, welcome back. In this video training, we're going to be going through how to easily create great content to attract your ideal patient leads. In the last lesson, we talked about the different steps that you need to be doing ahead of time to start thinking about this whole process, thinking about your ideal patient, the treatment options that you want to be marketing, the offer that you're going to create, and then putting that together into a value ladder. And then ideally you're putting that into an online funnel or a sales process, right? Now we're going to be talking about how to create the great content built around all of that that gets people to take action and ultimately become patients, right? So the first thing we have to do is we have to create what's called an escape and arrival route with different checkpoints. And basically, if you think about it, it's where do you want to take your ideal patient away from? What do you want for them to be able to escape from their current their current state of health or their current pain level or their current, treatment option that they're using. And then what outcome do you want them to arrive at? So by introducing your new opportunity, your treatment, your products, your services, they're going to be leaving where they currently are and arriving at where they want to be. And another way to put it is what steps in order need to take place for your ideal patient to move from where they are now to where they want to be using your treatment or your service or whatever you're offering. An example would be taking someone that is in chronic pain. If you're marketing towards someone that is in chronic pain and they think that there's nothing that can be done to help them be pain-free again, and you are showing them how they can get back to being active and healthy and back to their normal life by using your treatment option, right? And so you're introducing them to a new opportunity. You're going to take that process as you think about it. So thinking about working in the past with a patient that you've worked with, and when they first met you, the conversations that you had, the questions that they had, the process that you did to onboard them, consultation, exams, imaging, diagnostics, and then you introduce them to recommendation, and then you have your treatment protocol, you do your treatment, you do your check-ins, you do your re-exams, re-evaluations. You progress them through care. You may offer them additional services, or eventually you're going to discharge them at the point, hopefully, that they have got the result that they're looking for, right? So someone that was in pain, they come, they do your treatment, and now they're not in pain and they're happy, they're back to living their life again. Think about what that whole process looks like from A to Z, that story that is there, right? So pick out different milestones about how you would get someone from A to B. Think about the different steps that have to take place. All right, so you're gonna have a lot of different checkpoints or milestones that you can break down in that checklist, all the things that you're gonna be covering that you have to do. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna pick 3, 4, 5 different milestones or checkpoints that your who needs to reach to get the result that you're offering, right? So if you in your practice have, for your patient that you're trying to bring in, if there are, let's say you come up with 15 or 20 different checkpoints of things that they have to reach or meet to get to that end outcome, to pick 3 or 4 of them that you're really excited to talk about or really good at. Maybe it's you're really good at consultations, the communication aspect of your practice. That's what you want to create content around. If you're really good at the rehab side of your practice and the physical side of your practice, then you need to create content around that. If you're really good at handling objections or Q&A, creating content around that. There's a lot of different angles that you can take here, but the idea is just to pick 3 or 4 of the areas that you really enjoy, or that you're really good at, or that you really like about that process, that escape and arrival process, and that's basically what you're going to be doing to create content around. You're going to pick those 3 or 4 areas, and they should be easy and the most exciting for you to speak about, and you're going to create valuable content around it. So there's a couple things you need to keep in mind though. One, make sure that this rounds up, this route that you're creating, this escape and arrival route, lines up with your offer, your products, your services, and your ideal patients, right? You got to make sure that everything is linear and connected, and the conversation makes sense. Then you're going to break those milestones that you've created, and you can create sub-milestones down, right? So you're creating sub-content. You're breaking it up into smaller chunks. And then you're going to take those little sub milestones, and that's what you're going to be creating content around. You're going to be creating daily live content around those steps with the call to action. And that call to action is going to be, a link to the offer page or the opt-in page. It's going to be, send a message on Facebook or call, but ideally, again, sending them to that offer page. All right. So that's it. It's really not that complicated. Just think about, in short, think about how you engage with patients on a daily basis, and what steps if you work with a lot of disc and sciatica patients, you probably have a protocol. You probably have your entire practice should have systems and protocols to where you're bringing people in, do a consultation, you have a new patient process, why you take imaging, why you don't take imaging, who's qualified, who's unqualified. And then if they're qualified, then what do you do next? If they're unqualified, what do you do? And you have a flow chart basically about how your practice works. If you don't, you should. And you're going to take those steps, those different flows, and that's what you're going to be creating content around. And again, ideally, it's the stuff that you're really excited to talk about, you're really knowledgeable about. It's easy for you to create content around. And ideally, it should be, the content when you're engaging daily with patients. If you're having conversations with patients and they have a lot of aha moments, or those times when the light bulb goes off, and you tend to say that same thing a lot, that's what you need to be creating content around, right? So frequently asked questions videos, or what does a new patient process look like, or maybe it's a myth about a certain treatment option that patients bring up a lot that they need to be aware of. Maybe it's something that they've heard myths about, and you need to explain that to them the truth about it. Again, just think about the daily conversations that you're having with these types of patients. Make sure the content's relevant, and then create valuable content around that. And if you really think about it, what you're doing is you're taking and creating content that answers all of the questions, all the rebuttals, all of the objections that you would experience on a day-to-day. All the questions that patients ask you over the course of your career. You just create content around that, because if patients are asking it to you in the office, you can create content and answer that question to other patients or prospective patients who are already thinking about those questions, and you're getting that content out to them ahead of time, right? So now it's time to create the content, right? So you've got the idea, you got the process, you got your offer, what content to talk about. But now you need to have something in place to where you can make sure you deliver it in a way that people can understand, they can use, and they can take action on. So in the next lesson, we're going to be going through how to script out your video content, your sub-milestone content. Script, what I say by script is kind of my bullet points that you need to be addressing and using, because there's a specific structure when you deliver this content that's going to get people to engage and take action. Right, so in that next video, the next video training, we're gonna be talking about scripting your sub-milestone content towards that escape and arrival concept, and you're gonna be walking your patients through the process of providing value, answering questions, and then ultimately getting them to sign up for your offer. That's it for now, and I'll see you guys in the next lesson.